fortress treasuring our national monetary system. He was going in and out at will. He was using his agents to draw $1 million on sheets of paper. You know, when you go to bank, you cannot just write, even your own checkbook, your own checking account, a sheet of paper to say, I want to withdraw $1 sheet. There are systems in the bank you have to follow to be able to produce that, withdraw your money. But he was withdrawing $1 million at one go without any documentation, just a sheet of paper, signed by somebody.
But Minister, how is that possible? You just said it, even your own checking account.
Yeah.
Did the dictator have a checking account at the central bank?
He does not have a checking account. He has the dictators, like all dictators, the rule of force. You send your agents to the central bank, I want this. Those there, they also leave all the rules, all the laws, and they just, let's say, obey what you say. So they implement. Otherwise, even a commercial bank will not allow you to withdraw $10 on a piece of A4 sheet. Much more the central bank.
Yes, that's the point I wanted to make. I don't think any commercial bank was going to allow that kind of behavior to happen.
No,
it's not even going to be possible.
No, it would not be.
Therefore, it is only possible because the Central Bank of the Gambia is a creature of law. The appointment and the conditions of service of the bank is imposed by the executive, then the dictator. So it is very likely that if they had refused, they would be fired.
Well, they would be fired, but I think that's another issue for Gambians in terms of professional integrity. You know something is being done which is wrong. Do you want to play by it, or do you want to say, look, I cannot be part of this, and like so many decent other Gambians, they resign or they find their way out of the country. So many people went on exile. But if you choose to be, as we call it this time, to be the dictator's enabler, you just agree to what he does. You are not serving the Gambian people, you are not following your principles, you are not following the law, and you are just part of the dictators.
So what kind of central bank would a UDP government have?
So that was an example to show that there were no solid financial management systems in the country. Things were done at the behest of
Minister, the act was there. It was up to the Gambians.
The act was not there. The act was there, the rules were there, the central bank procedures and rules are there, but the dictator is just like you bypass everything.
No, I think you've answered the question, Minister.
And then those who were in position were playing with his new game, new rules. So they failed the Gambia. That's why when we came, that was one of the change. We removed some of those executives who were there at the time, because we felt this was a lack of professionalism in a way. And it was not just done once. He was drawing $500,000, $750,000, and $250,000. So it was over a serious period of time. Things that went up to about, let's say, $20 million, plus other funds like the Gamtel account. This is their network account. You total a sum of over almost $50 million. Gambian money, not the dictators, but he has stolen from everybody something that belongs to everybody. So that kind of system, it's in a state of governance where we call a dictatorship. And 2016, that's why everybody came to try to have a change. And that change is to move from dictatorship to democracy, and which requires a lot of steps to change the dynamics of governance, to bring in the rule of law, bring in financial systems, audit controls, to make sure everybody plays its role and its part to build a better Gambia. So this is the change that was assigned to the coalition. You had so many reforms, including civil service reforms, which has not happened as yet.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But we've seen the corruption in the service. Over 3,000 ghost workers in the system, you know, being paid, somebody else receiving that money. So system failures were almost everywhere.
Okay. I mean, that I don't think anybody is going to contest.
Yes.
Probably what everybody is interested in and wants to hear about is exactly what is UDP going to do to make sure that this change is not only institutionalized, but it is never, like they say at the TRRC, is going to be never again. Because after all, you can have a system that is perfect in design, but the people that are managing that system, the people who are supposed to safeguard all these controls, are the ones who themselves put it aside.
I think you've you hit the nail on the head. Because when we took over government, you had very little reserves. Less than 2 weeks, about $40 million worth of import cover. Inflation was around 9%. Treasury bills were about 18%. The debt was so huge, both domestic and external, was around $50 million. $50 billion is So the debt was such that you cannot go out and approach other financial institutions. Say, look, the Gambia, you are 120 something plus 25% of debt of your ratio to your GDP, and they will not consider you as a good creditor. So the country was going almost bankrupt. The IMF ceased engagement since 2010 with the Gambia because of the dictator's operation. Other donors were all holding their funds, nothing was coming in. So the change that is required was to transform this dictatorship, to bring it into a democratic space and make sure systems are working, not individuals. Individuals have to do their work within the system and to perform. But in a dictatorship, it makes sure the individuals do what they want. And that destroyed this country. So we came in 2016 to take this load. And in addition, NAWEC had almost only 2 weeks of reserve for heavy fuel oil. You know, we were going total blackout. So you had all these challenges to take up. With NAWEC, we were able to get some support from the World Bank, and also to pay off the areas of the Islamic Development Bank loan, which the previous Jammeh administration was failing, and IDB had stopped all their projects in the country. So that's one of the effects of this serious indebtedness that we are still seeing ourselves into. Because you cannot pay, they'll stop their projects. So we paid, and we were able to institute for the first time public tender for the country's heavy fuel oil. And that was a success because even the World Bank acknowledged we were able to cut down the cost by 18% to NAWEC. And the quality of fuel was far better than what was coming in. That is something.
So that is an achievement of the coalition government.
But it's a change in the system that we had planned.
Yes.
And it's part of the UDP membership of the coalition.
I get that point, Honorable Minister. My point is that going forward, for example, the Central Bank recently went to the Central Bank of Nigeria to seek assistance in printing the Gambian dalasi. A UDP government, will it be more of a digital economy where cash transactions are minimized? Because one of our 5-point agenda is talking about energy and digital transformation. Yes. So I'm just saying what would be the core mandate of a UDP central bank?
I'm bringing these issues because they form the foundation, because we are seeing that the current government is not complying with that. We know that there were tenders after what we did from GNPC. At the time, this finance minister was there, and we know that somebody won. And I can say, so it was Alaji Conte and his group, but they refused to give him that award because he was not their candidate.
Can I come in?
Yes.
The point we're trying to say is, is we understand the background now. I think what Almami is trying to ask is the way forward.
I just learned the way forward. I'm just putting this on.
Okay.
I'm telling you, from a system that is transparent and system that is based on the values of the party and the goodwill for the country. So what this other tender was, you cancel it because you don't believe, you don't want to give it to the other person. We have to create that. Procurement is a key area. UDP government will ensure that procurement rules are transparent. It's not just like giving big contracts, to one person. You say, oh, we are single sourcing. It has a lot of flaws. And the UDP government will make sure that we have a very good procurement setup, a very good procurement system and administration within the government. This will give benefit, value for money to the citizens. The central bank also will make sure that the Act makes the central bank independent.
More independent.
More independent.
Yes.
With little or no central government interference, so that they will perform the task of monetary management in the best of standards, in the business. Because there was an act, we passed an act in the House Central Bank Act, and we have seen that this government is not complying with the act. By first removing the governor, you are not respecting the laws. Because the law says you can only remove a governor if you set up a judicial committee and you allow him to respond to whatever you are charging him. That never happened. So this government, you have, as you say, good laws, but they are not following. And the UDP will make sure that these laws, they are for the interest of the country, for the interest of restoring democracy. Democracy is a word, but it has building blocks. And these systems and institutional setups are part of that, what guarantees fair play and equal opportunity for all citizens.
Okay.
So we will set up the central bank in a way that it becomes very independent and not interfering in what they do, to make sure that they perform the task.
And hopefully some innovations like the Central Bank of Nigeria, I reference them because...
Yes, the Central Bank of Nigeria...
because they have dedicated some percentage of their monies or earnings or the monies they are keeping in trust to SME development, for example. And they have made provisions and regulations to all commercial banks that a certain amount of financing, lending is dedicated to small, medium enterprises.
I think
those kind of innovations, I think, also.
Yes, I think those are the details in terms of the financial management.
Yeah.
So if you want to specify what it will be a longer time. But these are important issues.
Yes.
And the fact that they are approaching the federal government of Nigeria Central Bank to assist in printing, I don't know in what context. Because when we came in 2016, there was a contract with De La Rue.
That has always been here, I think, for the last
since forever.
years.
They have been here forever for the printing of our currency.
Yeah.
Okay, if that contract expires, again, good governance requires you look for the best deal for this country.
But I was thinking about innovation, because a lot of the places now, they are using digital money, digital currency. And those, even in China, where you have a huge population, you go and buy vegetables from a street vendor. You can use technology. This is why I was talking about.
Digitalization is one of the areas that the UDP government will come. We had started with customs. You know, you can sit here, fill your customs forms without going there, doing all the hassles of in and out, and you know, all the difficulties. You know, fill your forms and clear your goods. Pay with your card. That is possible. Your tax forms can also be done, and it can be digitalized.
Okay.
The markets, I did experience this one. It's in Lagos market.
Yes.
You go, you pay with your mobile phone, not cash.
Yes.
All these things. Some of these have begun. The banks are beginning, but again, it's capacity building in the bank, in the digital system, the IT system, infrastructure in the country, which we should really develop.
Yes.
We already have a base in terms of the fiber optic, which we did the first mile with the broadband network.
Yes.
And we had a lot of stick from the World Bank, you shouldn't do the loan. Everybody was scared of loans then. But that was one step to give capacity to the economy. Because now all around the country, you can access the broadband. So it makes it easier platform for the banks to play and get their role to sell their products to the people. And I think with almost mobile phones in every village, it's now to get the networks to have countrywide access. And then this becomes one of the realities. So our government would definitely build on this to ensure that we have digital government in terms of paper flow. Even recently, sometimes we go to certain areas, departments, we are sort of paper, where they go around and around to you know, these are things we can do in the past.
Yes. Honorable Minister, we are starting with the economic pillar of any transformation, because it's the most important pillar on which everything else pivots around. Once it is infused with good governance and the rule of law, then it becomes a very competitive and a very useful economy. So I would like to speak to Honorable Sane Jawara. They also came and they found a dictatorship parliament, to use your word, and they started reforms. You talked about civil service reforms, institutional reforms. Honorable, within your first year, the TRRC Act and the Constitution Review Act were passed by your parliament, by the Parliament of the Gambia, to start the formal reformation process, or the restoration process, regeneration process of civil society, civil service, and the services generally. Now, on the eve of another election, presidential election, what are the issues that you would like to see in a UDP government in terms of the way Parliament works, in terms of the numbers of laws that are necessary to bring about the reforms that the finance minister spoke about? Because a lot of people globally are talking about a circular economy where nothing is wasted. They are building more resilient economies where climate change, adaptation, and related matters are built into the architecture of governance to make sure that everybody knows that this is the system and this is how we do things. In your experience, a UDP government would be able to use the rule of law to achieve economic objectives that the Honorable Minister have just discussed.
Yes. Thank you very much, Almami. And to discuss these issues, I would like to remind myself that obviously this is the beginning of the discussions. So what we're going to discuss here today are not going to be exhaustive of the whole subject or even more cross-cutting issues. So definitely then, therefore, I would want to just say for now that a UDP government understands, a UDP coming into government understands that some of these things are overarching, but basically they have to be bordering around leadership, good governance, and socio-economic development. If that is the bedrock of our coming into government, if that's going to be the bedrock of our journey moving forward, then we understand that definitely when we say leadership, it's not about a one-man show. It's about the team that is going to be moving this vision of the leader or the leadership of the country from, let's say, 2021 to 2026. And that's where you have the experts in finance, experts in environment, experts in everything. So when it comes to, again, good governance, like you were saying and like the minister was saying, everything is going to be based on rule of law. We cannot have laws that are not implemented or enforced. Obviously, then we have to go back to that drawing table to make sure that laws are implemented, and if anybody is found wanting, regardless of their inclination, they have to actually face the full force of the law. And again, the other thing is what is the whole idea about these things? It's about socio-economic improvement. If we are going to be in government, it's to serve. So obviously, it's to serve the economic and social aspirations of the people that have elected us to come into office. So therefore, to do that, you have to take stock of the past, as you are asking me, coming back to your question. And that is, what did 2016 December elections bring, and what went wrong? What it brought was a new dawn for the Gambia to move from dictatorship into
some are saying it's a false dawn.
Well, it is a false dawn because of the realities today. It would, because if you fail to have that kind of leadership, this is what it brings. The promises that were made by the coalition government failed, and it has nothing to blame but the leadership. No matter who you want to blame, no matter who you want to point the fingers at, is who is driving this this agenda, this transitional agenda, is the leadership. And that means the leader plus whoever else it encompasses. So my point is, what we have seen is we have seen a paradigm shift from what was supposed to be to what obtains now. And what was supposed to be is today we would have including the TRRC and the CRC. We enacted the National Human Rights Commission. We established the Journey Commissions. But we also introduced so many other progressive bills, like for example the anti-corruption bill.
But still, that bill is not law.
This is what I'm saying. So that's why I'm saying it's a paradigm shift. No? So the UDP government coming into force, a full-blown UDP government, will understand these shortcomings and pick them up and drive them home. Yeah, but
our supporters, our viewers, know that there is a whole manifesto of renewal, of transformation that the UDP is working on. It has also been talking about this 5-point agenda, which we consider priority of priorities. And one of the 5-point agenda elements is the digitalization. We expect that when a UDP government is in control of the parliament in 2022, the proceedings of parliament would have a remarkable change, because just a few days ago, some Gambians are very unhappy about the supplementary bill that, the supplementary budget that allocation that the parliament passed. And some are even blaming the UDP one way or the other.
For what? For what?
For allowing the supplementary allocation.
That's just politics.
No, I know it's politics. I'm trying to get back to our mission this evening. That a UDP parliament needs to be as independent as the central bank, and its processes must be effective, not only by making the law, but making sure that the system is responsive to the laws that are made in terms of the implementation, in terms of the impact. Because you can have all kinds of laws, but we haven't had in the Gambia a parliamentary commission of inquiry on the performance of, for example, state-owned enterprises and similar public issues. All the commissions are done under the fiat of the executive. So I think in a mature democracy, the U.S. Congress is investigating currently this January 6th incident. They're trying to find out what actually happened at the U.S. Capitol. I mean, the UK parliamentary processes have built into it. So I just want to understand, as a lawmaker for the first time, the working of parliament. How is UDP going to change the working of parliament? We know that parliament doesn't have a legal department. I heard in the grapevine that they are working on that. But the Office of Parliamentary Counsel is at the State Law Office. And there are so many other resources that the parliament requires to be as effective as the voters wanted. Yeah,
sure. Okay. First, we all understand the history of the parliament. Until 2016 or 2017 April, there was a parliament under dictatorship. So when we came in, we didn't have that problem of dictatorship tendencies. Our shortcomings were our own individual abilities as parliamentarians. We have to understand that a good 90% of these parliamentarians are new.
Yeah, but my point, Honorable, is that the institution itself...
I'm coming, because the institution is built by the people that are in that institution.
No, the institution is built by law, and then the people who come into the system come there with their weaknesses as much as possible, but the institution should be able to help them get better.
The 1997 Constitution gives us the framework of which we can build a strong parliament.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the people in that parliament who are supposed to spearhead that drive, that's what I'm coming on, is the ability of those people. Unfortunately, that's why we are now. But fortunately, just last week, we have passed the National Assembly Service Bill. That has given us now, and the next government to come, the opportunity, the parliament, the independence to some extent, especially financial independence, to do their own things and be able to operate freely without the control of the executive. because if the National Assembly service is independent, then means the members are independent, even though the members have ever been independent under the Constitution. However, their services or their operations was not independent, because the clerk and the office of the clerk was under the public service, which was controlled by the executive. Now that is now a different matter. So UDP hopefully will inherit a parliament that is independent, that will build its own capacity.
Yes.
In terms of the resources that you are talking about, to be able to do the job, and hopefully mature to become like the parliaments of the British parliaments and the other parliaments around even the sub-region. You go to Ghana, for example, they have very effective committees. Unfortunately for the Gambia, it's sad to say, but sometimes committees find it difficult for the whole year. They'll find it difficult to even roll out to Basay to go and do a fact-finding mission because of financial constraints. Now, I'm not trying to blame the executive for this. I blame the National Assembly ourselves now. But my point is, we hope that when there is change, in December 25th, this year, in the leadership of this country, will also resonate or will reflect the same way come April next year when the parliamentary election comes into place. What we hope to see is that more capable Gambians, more responsible Gambians, come and involve into politics and take these positions, because unless the parliament is equally as resourceful in terms of human capital, I'm talking about. It's not about the Sanaja or
no, because I think here the expectation is that a UDP government will inaugurate change in the governance of our institutions. Parliament is the mother of all institutions because it creates all of them, whether it is the IEC, whether it is the Evidence Act, or
the point, Mami, is UDP cannot make that change. Parliamentarians are selected, elected by their people.
Yeah, Honorable, my point is this. If you go to Kenya, for example, they had a constitution in 2010. Of course, their constitutional arrangements are different from ours. But I know they have a constituency development fund established by law. I know they have facilities for the staff, the parliamentary service. They even have a channel, a parliamentary channel, where the debates of parliament, as long as they are going on. So I'm just trying to make the point that the independence of parliament means that it will have resources, because I understand there was a civil society organization that went to court to say that a fund that you wanted to have within your within the parliament itself, a scheme. These are all things that, if at all they are in the law once and for all, I don't think anybody will spend valuable time and resources to go to court to question the way parliament works. This is, for me, this is the point, that institutional renewal and institutional change as far as parliament is concerned, exactly what is the UDP going to do in that regard, so that the parliament is responsive, the parliament is effective, but most importantly, the parliament is independent. Yeah.
So basically, the UDP will promote the idea of having an independent institution and a co-equal partner of the government in parliament. Yes. However, my fear was, and my point that I'm trying to drive at all the time is this: the composition of the membership of the parliament is not something UDP have to just promote their agenda. Yes. However, it's the people who choose their representatives. And that affects...
I have no doubt about that. And I don't think they are even conflictual.
Okay. So, because
if you strengthen the
So coming back to your point, yes, if I may just to wrap up, is that with this new bill that is passed, it's going to give the members this time to introduce that loan scheme that would affect the next parliament. So which means that what the fear of many is that this was a selfish scheme would be seen to be not the case. Because maybe some of us or some of the members today will not enjoy that benefit. However, they need to be a co-equal benefactor of those kind of schemes, because it's in the judiciary and as well as in the executive. What we will also see is a parliament that in this budget is going to make sure that those offices that you are talking about, those couple of mobilities or logistical challenges that they have been facing are going to be addressed this time. So we don't even have to wait for the change of government. This parliament will make sure that the next legislature is fully capacitated to be able to do that job. However, where your question is what is UDP going to do about that to make sure that that is strengthened, is that the UDP will encourage that philosophy of the separation of power, to make sure the parliament goes on to enjoy those and make sure that the laws that are going to be supporting and safeguarding those controls are in place.
Fantastic. Honorable Sana Jawara, Honorable Minister, I hear our president, the national president of the UDP, has been sitting and listening very patiently. I believe it is only fair, after hearing from two gentlemen, we should have actually started with the lady in the house. Why, Madam President, ñu ngi la dalal ci programme bi di wax rek ne programme UDP la ñu ko oyé UDP Hour mu ngi ñëw every Saturday, samedi bu nekk dina ñëw from 8 o'clock ci Paradise TV. Ba pare sax am nañ arrangements pour am na radios yoo xam ne dinañ ko mën a déglu foofu boole ci di Paradise FM ak yeneen FM stations. waaye bii mooy njël benn programme bi te ñu ngi just jógee ci voter registration bi li mu wone mooy ne Gambia fii jigéen ñi ñoo fee doxal, jigéen ñaa uppa ñoo nekk ci business yi, ñoo nekk ci naako yi, ñoo nekk ci school yi, ñoo nekk ci suñ kër yi. Électoral yi jigéen ñi mun nañoo def ku nekk kuñ bugg rek ñu def ko président. yow nag yàgga nga ci politics, yàgga nga ci politique yi UDP, xam nga démba yaa ngi fekkee tey alhamdulillah. léegi ñun dañ bëggoon a understand UDP ñu ngi wax ne élection a ngi ñëw December te dañ bëgg a suñ secrétaire général ak suñ presidential candidate Alhaji Ousainou Darboe mu jàlla. ñun xam nañ ne loolu du mun a am fekk jigéen ñi bootuñ ko, fekk jigéen ñi taxawuñ ci. waaye liñ gis mooy ne jigéen ñi bokk ci politique bi di jongante dafa xaw a néew ci government yi Yaya Jammeh, ci government bi, even ci government yi Sir Dawda, jigéen ñi gisuñ ñoon seen bopp ci place yu bari. léegi su fekkee ne UDP government am na, naka la ñoo def ba nga xam ne jigéen ñi yaatal nañ leen ci géew bi, boole nañ leen ci decision making bi, fu ñoo wax ci affaire yi réew mi, koom-koom yi réew mi, liggéey ndaw yi réew mi, liggéey jigéen yi ci naako yi, ci business yi, naka la UDP di def ba dooleel leen ba nga xam ne dinañ gis ne daal wécceeku am na, soppi ko am na ci doxalini nguur gi. ndax nguur moo dee fal, nguur moo dee jox alal, nguur moo dee jox place. so tey bëggoon nañ rek comme evidence bi lañ am, data bi lañ am, ne jigéen yi ñoo ëppa ci ñuy sànni karta. benn, jigéen yi war nañoo gis seen boppa ci place yi, jigéen yi war nañoo gis seen boppa ci political space bi. waaye ba tey ñun xamuñ li tax ñeena ñaa ngi toog seen kaw loxo, sànniwuñ ci seen loxo, bokkuñ ci waxtaan bi. so Madam President, nga wax ñu ci lu gàtta naka la UDP parele jigéen ñi pour yóbbu leen ci kanam.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahi mina seytaani rajim. Good evening viewers. maa ngi nuyu ñëpp di nuyu ñi ma fi toogal di leen sant di leen gërëm. mbiri UDP moo ñu taal fii naka la UDP di mun a doxalee ndax gis nañ ne at yi passé yëpp doxi jagut. UDP nekk na nguur goo xam ne ci jigéen wàllu jigéen ñi 30 to 35%, 35 to 40% amal nañ ko jigéen ñi si suñ biir parti bi. UDP amal na ko jigéen ñi cëralee na ko jigéen ñi kon nag jigéen ñi bu ñu war a des gannaaw si dara soo ko seetloo jigéen ñaa ngi góorgóorlu de ndax ñu ngi góorgóorlu waaye niñ ko bëggee pour ñu gën a ñëw booba temps ñeme ñu woon dañ ne jàppale lu nekk góor a ko war a def waaye léegi jigéen ñaa ngi takkaay yi ñoo nekk si lu nekk si marché bi si togga gi ci jànga mi fu nekk di nga gis ne bu jànga njëkk pour jànga sax jigéen ñi doonuñ si dara waaye léegi di nga xam ne soo jàngalee jigéen nga jàngal benn jigéen sax moo jàng lifi nga jàngal góor parce que benn jigéen soo ko jàngalee dafa benn nation àdduna nga jàngal parce que am na bunta yoo xam ne yu baree yoo xam ne mooy wax njaboot gi lii jàngal lii si ndeyam laa jigéen laa jàngee ba jóg ba mun a taxaw fi mun a taxaw ku góor ki su jógee jigéen mooy yaay ji mooy jóg mooy def lu nekk amee dund bi amee yërmandeem di ko xool si biir butam lu mu bañ ak lu mu bëggul yëpp jigéen na ko yore kon nag jigéen moo war a mun a doxal réew UDP nguuru UDP su ñëwee jigéen ñi ñooy nekk sa kanam incha allah suñ njiit li loolu la bëgga te nekku ne ñun suñ njiit li mu bëgga rek loolu laa doxal déedéet de doxalu loolu de UDP nguur goo xam ne la ñëpp a si bokk a fi ñoo toog di ko waxee ñëpp ay toog ku nekk wax sa xam-xam ñu jël boolente moo nekk si UDP loolu UDP ba mu taxawee ba tey amul kii mooy boss bi amul kii mooy secrétaire général bi amul kii mooy président bi ñëpp a bokk a si UDP lii firnde bi gis ngeen élection bi passé ba ñoo taana gis ngeen ko suñ ne du kenn du dogal ñëpp ay boole wax ñu wax ba pare takk ko ànd si li ñi ëpp a doole wax kon nag jigéen ñi maa leen di oo ñu ñëw bokk si UDP su ñëwee jigéen ñaa ngi ni ñoo nekk si naako bi dinañ gis ne seen naako yi teen yi métti na liggéey bi métti na soo gisee ma njëkkee si naako bi dama gis liggéey booba moo gën a métti loo gis ndox du am courant du am dara du am nguuru UDP nag su ñëwee dinañ gis ne dégg naa yaa ngi wax ne courant danga bëggaat technologie ba biir dex gi waaye nguuru UDP su ñëwee dafa seet ne courant bu doy am na parce que am na ñoo xam ne ñu ngi yëgu si jaay ice jaay galaas seeta su na weeru koor jotee ngay dem fii ba Farafeñe ndax Wilingara si Sénégal di jëndee ji galaas loolu nguuru UDP du ko def nañ gis ne courant bu doy générateur yu ees luñ dem jël générateur yu ñu pentul indi ko mu dox ñaari fan toog duñ ko def dinañ gis ne générateur yu doo am nañ ko si gox bu nekk gis ne cold store yi am nañ ko gox bu nekk te gis ne amal nañ leen marketing fu ñoo jaayee seen yi ñoo ji bitim réew dina am ñoo xam ne ñooy dem loolu nga xam ne dañ koo jënd di ko yóbbu di ko jaay du am fii rek ñu di ko dugal si cold store balaa moo yàgg su nguuru UDP taxawee dinañ gis loolu lépp li fi rëccoon gerte léegi amatut béyatuñ lu doy ñeneen gan yi ñoo ñëw di ko jënd si loolu nguuru UDP dina gis ne loolu amul witeen bi góor ak jigéen ñëpp a si daan jëriñul up contre dex gi loolu léegi amatut facture yi daan liggéey fii loolu yëpp amatut te jigéen ñi dañ si daan dem di faraatu seen mun yaa ngi gis gerte yi ñoo saani saaro bi sa jigéen ñaa fa nekk di ëppa di fartaatu lu ñoo dundalee seen njaboot kon nag nguuru UDP su ñëwee lu nekk loo xalaat si lu baax nguuru UDP dina taxaw ko indil ko jigéen ñi soo na ne ndox teen sax bi ñoo ñëw nii bu yàggul fas mooy xëcc seen lifin bi ndi xóotaayi teen te loolu ñu ngaa dem ba half a kilomètre di dem di rooti loolu miiti na nguuru UDP su ñëwee dina gis ne ndox mi fu mu war a jaar dina fa jaar ndaxam daal de électrification rural électrification amoon na clean water amoon na foog naa nguur gi passé déggoo ne joxe woon ne loolu jox seen African countries ndax amoon West African countries joxe nañ ko woon waaye ana suñ bos Sénégal gii de soo demee dëkk yëpp fa yu bari am nañ courant am nañ ndox waaye ñun fii nii ana loola léegi nguuru UDP su ñëwee loolu yëpp daf koo indi foo xalaat si gox-goxaan ndox dina fa doy courant dina fa doy nit ñi mun a liggéey jigéen ñi toog seen xel dal seen joboot dal suñ xale yi duñ génnaati di dem bitim réew di uti ndax ñàkk a am yi yëpp moo tax ñu génn di dem di uti gis nañ bitim réew la fa nekk sa dégga suñ koo wax yéen ñi tukki gis ngeen fa ñi seetaan cinéma yi gis nañ ko xam nañ ko kon nag loolu lañ bëgg si suñ réew mi taay fi nguur gu jub boo xam ne démocratie la te dina toppal loi bi du loi bi du wax mu teggi loi bi sànni ko fale ne man taaj ngeen ma rek lu ma neex laay doxee déedéet nguuru UDP du doxal loolu
waaw madame président li nga wax ni moom dafa enu maanaa lool waaye nag bari na dépasse finance minister ñu ngi UDP ñu ngi wax ne dañoo def agricultural transformation suñ parti leader bi taxaw na ci plateforme ci Badibu mu ne lu dem téeméer bu nekk fukka yi suñ alali réew mi dañ ko def jagleel ko agriculture so loolu bëggoon nañ rek nga leeral ci lu gaaw ne yii ci policy si UDP yi lañ et pour ne agriculture bi ni moo doxee mooy mbéy mi ak yi fi njéef yi leeg ak yi fi xar yeeg affaire yi nag yi élèves yi waaw yooyu yëpp
ndax balaa moo dugga si agricultural development bank amoon nañ ko fi coopérative amoon nañ ko fi loolu yëpp amatu Mr Minister mu ngi wax ne xaalis dafa ñàkk waaye man dama ne su nguuru UDP taxawee ñu dee mënuñu dara de
madame président waxuma ne xaalis dafa ñàkk ne ma ne dépasse la
waaw dépasse la
waaye ni ñu koo defee loolu la nit ñi tamit
waaye moom si waxam dégg naa fii mu ne bañ toogee dépense bu rëy moo amoon fii waaye fexe woon nañ ba fay ba génnee def dépense ba ba doon jéem a jóg dafa nekk ne li fi amoon rek moo ñëwaat waaye suñ toppoon yoon boobu ñu kon tey win nañ romba nañ foofu du dëgg rural development amoon na fi mbéy man fan yii fi mu nekk war nañoo béy maalo mu ñoo dundal waaye ana rural development sappo ngi mel ni kër gu genta kër ga dara nekkatu fa depuis régime bi passé ba mu ñëwee la raj Mr Minister yow gis nga foofu na meloon man dem naa sappo gis naa nañ daan béy irrigation rice bi noor ak nawet yëpp dañoo béy léegi nguuri UDP si ñëwee na ko fi delloo si yéen ñi
so I think Amadou ni nga ko laaj mun nañoo wax noonu economically naka la ñoo mën a afford that transformation waaye foog na when it comes to that specific policy ñu ngi develop foog naa dem nañ ba finalize the development of that policy suñ that agenda waaw ñoom Dr Lamine Mané and other doctors are part of that living forum bi waaye Amadou mun nañoo explain how is the UDP
because xam nga affaire investment la tamit because liñ miin Gambia fii mooy ne dañoo jël naamo ci nit ñi wala dañoo am xaalis ci réew mi ñu lekk ko duñ ko dugal ci place foo xam ne dina la jural dara sàppo bi moo wax ni ak irrigation bi ak yooyu la ak jinari beeg yooyu yëpp investment lañ woon yoo xam ne mënoon nañu jur dara tey so yow sa xam-xam ak sa experience egg na ci yooyu honorable Sana wax na ko mu ne ñu ngi liggéey suñ agricultural policy ak programmes yi nga xam ne dafa tax agriculture bi mbéy mi mu soppeeku
waaw jërëjëf agriculture ci Gambia lu am importance la can say it's one of the key areas for investment for a UDP government. 86% of our rice we import it. We have land in abundance, and I drove inside. You see fallow land, previously cultivated. Nobody is touching it. You have trees growing out in those lands. Those were very green at the time, with rice everywhere. But now it's only a small area that is being developed. And we have so much agricultural land. Nyamina, you have so much, rice irrigable lands. Kuntaur area. Then even if you go to URR, so Gambia, Munna Dundal, Bopam. Why Linglak is the investment, and investment boobu leadership government moo ko war a dugal ci réew mi te loolu lañ ñaakaar fu mu nekk nii and UDP government definitely dinañ make sure we do that investment bi lan la irrigation is very important nawet bi even this year alhamdulillah dem ba taw na tuuti waaye am na suma yeneen mbokk yi ñu doon wax 2 weeks amuñu rain ñu ne mu ne seen force sowing groundnut bi dafa dry but if you have irrigation nga xam good water management boobu war naa resolve a lot of those problems. So rice li ñu war a invest mooy the water management the mechanization and waxuma rek ñu essayer tractor head ñu ne leen politique la mu ngi ni 50 tractors so that should not happen. Soon infrastructure, agricultural infrastructure like SAPO and other regions, mixed farming centers, dañ leen war a jogalaat equip them new service region yi ñu war a plowing sowing ak other technical support boobu war leen ko joxe and then Gambia dañ war a rethink agriculture niñ ko dee financé we had rice development 1 rice development 2 LADEP I homa WADEP and so on so many projects upland
rice development wow
da nga laaj sa boppa after all these projects what change we are still importing 86% of the rice so
and
that's
in real terms, that is a lot of opportunity, yes,
a lot of resources
for employment creation.
This is it,
because once you have modern agriculture,
I'll come to that level.
Yeah, well,
it's a lot of resources. Why the way we are managing it with these projects, for me, UDP, we need to critically look at these projects. A project sitting at Cape Point or Abuko or Banjul, what is it doing? The rice and the other thing, agriculture, a lot of it. I'm not saying Combo is not doing any agriculture, but a lot of their client base, Mungichi, all over the country. And we are putting all these projects here without getting the results we need. The final result, more the important thing. After so many 20s of projects, still rice has not been grown. But we have seen individual drives, commercialized private sector. That's where we're coming in terms of youth employment. Because before the Indon Bay, New Def Buntung, that's the rice store. And we will eat that rice until the next season. We'll still have some. Those days have gone.
Self-reliance is no longer there.
No, Gambians mununyon because population growth mungfa, land fertility deterioration mungfa. So it plays over and over and over. You need to really maintain the soil and develop it. But we need to commercialize agriculture. That's where the youth empowerment component would come. And if I say agriculture, it's not only rice development. Poultry, we can do it. What do you import?
Sheep fattening.
Animal
sheep fattening, even ranch development cattle. We will have our dairy products. You know, it's sad when you see our women sitting at Serafunda Market with their gallons of milk. You know, some will not sell and it will go next there. But I saw a model in India. Let me just land there. They had ADB annual conference, but they had an expo there. And so then you see the women with their aluminium caskets, their milk, they take it direct to the dairy plant. So losses are reduced in terms of and then it is processed. Our hotel industry should be able to be vertically integrated agriculture. But what is happening in the Gambia? We all cry tourism, but you have 40 food containers. You see milk, butter, cheese, salmon, meat, name it, to service that industry. Yes. So what is the Gambian people, what are the benefits?
So this is a modernization project?
The modernization project, agriculture, what if we link it to other industries?
Yes.
It becomes commercial.
Absolutely.
So the youth will see that if we produce this, we'll be able to sell it and we will be able to get returns. Yeah. Not like you going and hoeing, 12 hours till your back is hurting and then at the end of the day you don't have anything. No, they have to get rewards. And what the government would do, to make investments, like capitalize a community. Maybe you have 100 youths and so on. Yeah. They have their field of investment.
President Banko don't want cooperatives.
Cooperatives, yes. But this time it will be a commercial setup. Wow. You equip them, you give them the inputs, but we will have an agreement to make sure the machinery and so on will not be sold and used for something else. So, but then you will give them all the incentives to produce. So, we are going all the way to Mauritania to buy sheep. And I know there are some who are doing sheep fattening here, but the resources are limited. That's where we need to invest.
Yes, and UDP will invest in that area.
Will invest in that. So, and then I made that point in one of the interviews I did yesterday or so, Give Thanks TV. I said, look, the SAP that they are approving here, there is not 1 penny for agriculture. No. You don't have 1 penny for youth empowerment.
Yes.
It's all infrastructure, big roads and so on, big contracts. How those contracts, the procurement system is questionable, so we have to see.
If I may comment there.
So to learn is just to create a commercial environment. Under the NDP, the Gambia, I did pass this in Parliament, the Economic Powers, EPA, Economic Partnership Agreement with the EU. You can export a lot of these vegetables.
Actually, Radville Farm is doing it.
Radville is doing it commercially. So why can't you equip some of the youths to produce equally, like these farms? These farms have been here for how many years?
Yes, about 30 some years.
Also, ITC.
Karafi Farm, they are doing it.
ITC,
yes,
International Tolerance Center. Nekana fi. Pour fatni naki ak xari ak yoon
ndama katul
ñu am laan bu reuy laan bo xamne dañ daan dem buddi ji ñax bi airport moy ñax bi xari wara leka yépp ñu ji ko fa di nga gis ne duñ génn ci fil bi ak naki duñ fa génn fofu lañ leen nekk di riyaari walu gis na fofu place bobu yépp na fa leen def li fi
so the point I'm trying to say, is that Amadou has done a good job, and I think this is echoed by the national president. However, I think we should leave this subject, to the next episode. The reason being, we will not be doing those experts justice.
No. I mean, this is a conversation that is going to go on.
The experts will have their views, but we are also from our own level.
No, I agree.
We are also giving them. They will come and do their views.
They share the same views with those experts.
Yes.
However, I just think it will be better. Okay, don't worry about it. The point I was trying to get out of the former Minister of Finance is how is the UDP government going to be able to sponsor at least 10% of our budget on education, on agriculture. Yes. And then the rest, because he would know how these things are going to be funded.
10% of budget, these are all sort of financial guidelines.
Yes.
You have a committed leadership, you can go up to 40% of a budget, put it in an area, to ensure that you have results. And I'll tell you, if we are able to invest in agriculture, the impact on the economy will be multiple fold.
I agree.
One, you are looking for dollars to import your rice, euros to import your rice. the inflationary effect and the value of the dollar now, we were around what, 38 or something at some point. What is it, 51, 50 something?
No,
your dollar is depreciating.
We agree with you in total.
So you will create income generating for the youth. That has a very good factor. You engage the youth, you employ them in poultry, in animal husbandry, in vegetable production, rice production. But the infrastructure, agricultural infrastructure is essential. The irrigation, the mechanization, and the capacity of the people. I'll tell you one thing. Under the dead NDP, I know the French, they've started the irrigation in URA.
Yes.
That was part of our drive.
I agree.
And mechanization, what we did, myself and the party leader, Alhaji Hussein Dabo, from Brussels, we went by high-speed train to Paris. We met with the Agence Développement Français, and we met with some of the ministers, including the foreign minister and high-level officials. And what we expressed, we want irrigation mechanization as part of their contribution. And so they agreed. What they said, look, we want our contribution to impact the people, the society.
That's what all development assistance now is
so
about.
that's why they said, we don't want to pass it through your government system, because you put things through agriculture. Like you buy 50 tractor heads. These are packed somewhere. The rain season on. What use is it for the agricultural sector? So you buy 5 donkeys, give it to Badibo. What is that going to do? To change? Is that going to feed Gambia?
I trying to attack Badibungas,
huh? They are my in-laws, so I'm not attacking. But let me learn them.
Yeah. But Minister, we are on time here.
No, but I'll just land this point.
Okay.
The resource base, we know what we have here, but we have partners, we have development partners who were listening to us. And with a strong leadership in the UDSP government that is believable, not those where people will have question marks, like you have a lot of corruption around, and people will start stopping their development aid. No, with a strong leadership, we will be able to mobilize resources and put in agriculture.
Fantastic.
To get results, and not just to create projects for project's sake. We want results at the end of the day. The bottom line should be to the people on the ground, the poor farmer and the poor Gambian who will be able to buy rice at $400 or less.
So very well, Minister. And,
I have a question for Sana. Sana, léegi jigéeni Gambia yi pour ñu mun a xëj si National Assembly ñi jàngut naka ngeen ko gisee ak loo leen pareel UDP ak jigéen in général pour ñu xëj si lifin bi di wax local languages.
Okay, loolu xalaatoon nañ ko. Suma fàtte wote, the government, the UDP was supporting the idea of having a women quota in parliament, pour ñu mën a am representation, number one. Number two, the issue of national languages in parliament is yàgg nañ ko debate. Xool nañ all the possibilities. Waaye li si ëpp mooy li si gën a taxaw mooy the infrastructural capacity moom mooy nekk di challenge, because National Assembly nu mu dee operated ñu ngi war di digitalization. yow soo waxee si olof machine bi dafa war a jël that language mu turn ko into English mu record ko mu keep ko, okay, in writing. su ko defee ku bugg a ñëw maybe even 50 years later bugg a read said yow luy sa intervention on that day in Mandinka, Sarafule, Sose wala whatever, dina mën a xam lan la. So there are so many infrastructural challenges to this idea, but it's something nga xam ne ñu ko leew. Well, however, just to add to the Honorable Minister, mooy ne agriculture gis nañ li nga wax ni yëpp yéen a ngi express the same idea with what the experts are expressing, just in different ways. You know, while ñom luñ halat en jeka check boy no then check with the Gambian, for example, the Farmers Association. You must understand what are the key challenges of the farming communities. And see identifying the land tenure situation systems, because most investors don't want them to grow something. They almost guarantee or security of that land. Lolo is one problem. Capital is another problem. Access to finance. You cannot compete with international investors coming to town to set up shop. So they know you have access to cheap financing. Number 3, is the infrastructural layout. When you go to the Ginois, the Sapos, Basse, they were all extension programs, for making sure that people have, farmers have easy access to services and product support. While so you they have to be revamped. So there are so many things, I think time will allow us. But with more episodes.
That's why I chip in there. You see, those issues, land tenure and so on. Lulu, you are looking outwardly to the investor coming in. But I'm saying we have a base for our farmers here. There are people in farming. We need to capitalize those. We need to provide them with investment.
You'll be surprised that if you need a loan from a bank, the bank will want to know the collateral. So the land tenure system
that's
addresses
a different area. That's why I'm saying.
But it's one of the challenges, because if you want to do commercial agriculture on commercial terms, you are going to have a lot more difficulties.
But we are talking agribusiness.
Yeah, we are talking agribusiness.
For even our local people.
Yes.
So it has to be commercialized.
No, it is going to be commercialized at the principle of management. But the investment that is required, this is where a UDP government will put it up. That is what we are talking about, the 10% of GDP and allocations like that. But I think Minister and Honorable Member of the National Assembly, we are on a TV program.
Yes.
We have to stop it here for today. And we thank the viewers, because this was a frank conversation. It was not scripted. We have a very detailed program until December 4th to talk about all the issues that are on the docket for UDP when they come into government. So we are giving you a rendezvous. Please join us next Saturday, the same place, same time. We will have the Minister and the Honorable Member for the National Assembly and our National President again and again and again to just show you the diversity of the UDP as far as programs are concerned and the strategies we have put in place to address the challenges of nation building in our time. Until we come your way next week, have a good evening.
Thank you.
Different language.